And Nik Nanos is here joining us to break down the numbers. He is the founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too, Lauren.
So what are we seeing in polls with regards to how Premier Ford has been handling these U.S. tariffs?
You know, it's interesting, in a survey that we did with Bloomberg News, we asked Canadians how they viewed the job or the performance of Premier Ford in dealing with the U.S. trade relationship. Overall, it's generally much more likely to be positive than negative. About 42% of Canadians either scored him very good or good in terms of the job that he's doing, while about 27% scored him poor or very poor. And, this is really important. We just heard from your news segment, Doug Ford taking a shot at Mark Carney and the deal that he's made with China, because the fact of the matter is that Doug Ford has been a key player in advocating for Canadian trade and especially the relationship with the United States. And now what it looks like things are shaping up to is kind of like a Hunger's game, political and economic Hunger's game, where one part of the country is pitted against another part of the country because they might be upset about a concession or something that might be done by Prime Minister Carney in order to kind of build trade relationships around the world.
Nik, talk to me about the ban on U.S. liquor. What are Canadians saying about that?
Boy, it's kind of like Canadians still want to suck it to the Americans where they can, because, the thing is that, when we ask Canadians in the same survey for Bloomberg News about, the U.S. have been asking for Canadians to put U.S. booze back on the shelves. And check out the number. You can see almost 3 out of every 4 Canadians want to continue to keep American liquor off shelves in Canadian stores. That's a massive number. It speaks to the resolve that Canadians have in dealing with the United States, and probably the view that this is one thing that Canadians can do. They can not buy American goods. And, keeping U.S. booze off of shelves in Canada is just a signal to the United States of one of the few things that Canadians do, and leverage points. And you know what, Lauren? We do know that it is having an impact on a number of American distilleries, because Canadians are important customers to a lot of those organizations.
Right. And with that said, do you expect to see U.S. liquor going back into government-owned stores anytime soon?
Well, I think the only way that we're going to see it is if we see some movement in the Canada-U.S. relationship, Lauren. If nothing happens, there's no reason to change anything. So I think it's really in the court of Donald Trump to restart the trade negotiations, because he's in the driver's seat for all intents and purposes. And if those trade negotiations start in earnest, then perhaps this might be something that might be one of the first things that Canadian provincial governments might want to do in order to support re-engagement with the United States on hopefully a positive outcome when it comes to trade discussions.
All right, Nik, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Take it easy.